So what I find super interesting about pitching is that over the last 10 years, I've learned it's not always the best technology, the best startup, or the best innovation that wins, but the one that's communicated best. Another way, it totally frustrates me sometimes meeting amazing people that just simply don't get forward because they cannot tell the story, they cannot present it. And that's led me to really digging deep into this topic because I love pitching, I love supporting others in selling their vision. Hello Internet, I'm Daniel and I'm a serial entrepreneur, TV presenter and university lecturer, and I have earned the super weird title, the pitch professor, over the last couple of years because I've given something close to 350 pitch trainings because I love seeing amazing ideas and I absolutely hate it when you cannot communicate them. Amazing idea, but can't help to bring it over. That's where I come into play. So the most important thing about pitching is understanding. It's not about saying everything. It's just saying the right thing that the right person says, do you know what? I'm interested. Or maybe even says, do you know what? I do not believe you. And you say, hey, take a look. I'll convince you. So it's just saying the right thing in order to win more time. The next thing I find super important is you need to know your audience. In other words, you do not have one pitch deck to rule them all, but adapt to your audience. Know what language they speak, know what knowledge they have, and then go for it. And here's a fun fact. Most people think their audience is way more informed and way smarter than they actually are. So no offense, but if you think the level is here and go there. And here's the thing. It sometimes requires quite a lot of, let's call it, confidence to make things simple. But during Q&A later on, if people actually ask you complicated questions, then you can take the complicated language. But initially, keep it simple. You need to know your numbers. One of the worst things I see on stage is people say, so how much is XYZ? And you go like, ooh, well, don't. Know your numbers, be absolutely clear about them, and show us why you are the captain of the company you're trying to build. Know your numbers. Know why you are pitching. Don't just pitch because someone said stand on stage and, well, waste other people's time, but know what you're trying to achieve. Know if you're trying to get 1 million. Know if you're trying to get 50 new subscribers. Know if you're trying to get 5 people to try your new, whatever it is, chocolate cake. So have a clear mission and adapt your pitch deck accordingly and understand what kind of information you need to feed your audience that they understand what you're leading up to. Start simple and then add complexity. Because here's the thing, be it on stage or be it in the pitch deck, I know that if someone's still listening after 2 minutes, they're interested. And then you can add complexity because people are going to go, yes, I'm very interested, give me more. But the thing is you need to earn that interest. So start simple and then add complexity. Super important is have time management. Understand if you have a 3-minute pitch, how do you want to use your time? And here's the interesting thing. Everything on stage is a little blurred from the time. And I always say if you have 3 minutes, prepare for 2 minutes 30 and then go for it. Another tip I have is have someone in the audience to give you an understanding when you need to pull the cord and when you need to dump all the yada yada and get to the most essential parts because you see you're kind of running out of time. Something I find super intriguing is try and observe your audience, or maybe have someone else observing your audience. Because the thing is, imagine you're presenting on stage, you've got light shining at you, you're nervous, everything's going 100 miles an hour in your face, you can't see the audience, and probably you don't have the brain capacity to observe your audience. But imagine you have someone else who is, like not in a freaky way, but just in an interested way, and suddenly they notice that on slide 7, suddenly everyone gets the, well, peep pitch indicator, which is their phone. If the entire audience starts looking at their phone on slide 7 the learning is probably slide 7 needs a little rework. So this is super, super important. Observe your audience and try and understand what you learn from them. Maybe you see head bobbing where people go, yeah, that's cool. It means they understand. Looking to the ceiling means they're bored, and then adapt accordingly. Super important, and this is something I really like, and that's the difference between a really good pitch and an amazing pitch. Have backup slides. I love backup slides. So if you're during the Q&A session and people say, hey, how come this and this? You can either say, hey, well, complicated word, super complicated word, difficult word, or you can say, hey, really good question, and you have a backup slide. People love backup slides. What are backup slides? Well, normally, and if you have a pitch deck, you'll add more and more and more information to it over time. You'll suddenly adapt your pitch deck accordingly, as we probably said early on. So sometimes you move your slides from, let's say, your normal pitch deck into the part which you're not going to be talking about. You could use those as backup slides and then just kind of jump forwards and backwards. I'm a huge fan of backup slides. If you're saying, well, how do I know what people are going to ask me during Q&A? Read between the lines, you're going to see. Let's say you're looking for $1 million. What's the obvious question? Well, what are you going to use the $1 million for? That's an amazing backup slide, by the way. And then just kind of add to it.